Hey Ryan, Ben here going through some video analysis work for your swings from the San Diego camp. Thanks for coming to camp, and I found some things to work on and some stuff that I learned in the pros and do video analysis work for a living, and just wanted to go over some things that I think can really help you. So I've been watching your swings for a little bit, and then let's go ahead and get started here. So I want to first talk about in regards to our stance and our setup. I think there's a couple things we can do to get you more engaged to your whole body and get you some more power and get you more consistent. The first things I would do is, you can see if I draw straight lines from your feet, they pretty much go right up to your shoulders. And what I want to do is I want to have them be a little bit more apart. So I would take your feet and just kind of be them a little bit farther apart, just a hair, so they kind of make sure that they're 6 inches or so on each side of your shoulder, to make sure that you really get separation in our lower body. The other thing I would do too is I would get more athletic. I would bend your knees some more, and that's going to give us more power and get you more engaged in regards to our swing. The other thing in our setup, I would also raise our hands. I would put your hands more up in this position, and this is going to create a better angle for your barrel. I like where your eyes are, your posture, you're nice and tall, but I would put your hands back in that green circle and create a better bad angle for you, that we can work on making sure that we're downhill and flat through the baseball. So those are a few things in regards to our stance that I would work on, and you can watch this video and over again to kind of write them down and work through them. But those are the first few things that I would work on in regards to your stance and your setup. The next part of your swing, we go into what's called your land foot. So when we get ourselves loaded up in order to swing, one thing I did notice as you get loaded up, you can see how that back knee just kind of goes straight down. And what you need to do is that back foot needs to, instead of turning this way, you need to have that foot turned in a little bit and make sure that that knee stays inside of our feet here. Instead of your knee being right here, your knee should actually be more inside of your feet, and that knee should be over here, and that's going to give you more power to work from when I hit. The other thing too is, you'll notice with the hands, if they start right there, you'll notice that your hands drop. So at this point of our swing, you need to make sure that your hands stay up, and that's going to create more of a downhill through the ball approach compared to your hands dropping here, and that's going to make us more work on an uphill angle where we don't want to have. So it's something to really watch here. As I go to swing, two things I really want to work on as well. The first I'm going to talk about is my lower half. You can see that my legs are somewhat straight, and I want to make sure that I keep that bent and very athletic as I go, to make sure that we can really engage the lower half, because if it gets too tall, then I won't be able to really use all my legs and all my power to sit on my legs. The biggest thing we got to work on with your upper body is we're going to talk about is this lower arm. And what you want to do is, I'm going to draw a little line. You can see there's a little bit of an angle. At this point of my swing, that's where it is. I would want to have your angle of your arm be more here, and I would create your hands to be more in this position. And we need to keep that bend in that arm longer. So what's going to happen is, you're going to see as I go into land foot here, right here, you're going to see that that lower arm is locked. And you'll see what it does. When that lower arm locks, it pushes my hands back, and what's going to happen is, we're going to do what's called casting to the ball. Whenever we hit, we want to be short to it and long through it. And right now, when you have that bottom arm lock out like this and pushes your hands away from our body, that's going to make us be long to it, because we're just going to have to go all the way around compared to being really short to it. So what we need to do is, we need to do a drill, because at this point of our swing, you still want you want to have good angle in that arm, and your hands would want to be more in this area, and then your hands would still want to be up here with your barrel there, and that's going to create more of this angle to the ball. But if I don't do that, you can see it pushes my hands down and away from me, and I get myself sometimes underneath the ball. You can see how much that barrel's dragging on me of those hands, and then it has to come back up into contact. So if I get to that point, you can see that angle at this part of my swing, those hands, if I'm shorter to it, will have that barrel be up, and that's going to make a big difference in regards to the power of my swing at the end. One thing you can also work on is holding your finish at the end. You can see at contact, you're decent at contact, but at the end you have a pretty straight back leg. And at this point of our swing, even at contact, there's two things I want to change. You can see that your eyes are looking at the ball, and I don't want that to be. I want the eyes to be down on contact. So what I used to do is place a ball out in front and something you can just look at. So you're going to hit the ball and then look at the ball down on the ground. The other thing too is you can see the angle of this is straight, and you want to have a much better angle here of that leg. So you want this knee to, instead of being kind of over here, you want that knee to be all the way down in here to have a nice angle in my lower leg there, to make sure that that really stays in and really engages my lower half, so I can really hit with some more power and things. So that's also going to keep my head back just a hair more back in this position, to bring it back 3 or 4 inches, so you have a nice kind of straight line from that knee all the way up. You can see how that head wants to be right in the middle, so that you want to have your head back in this area. And if I do a different color, you can see that your head is more up in this area, a little bit more forward. So have that head be more in that green circle, and that's going to create some more angle for you. But a good drill to work on for this lower half, because this is the biggest thing I want you to work on, is what I would do is I would get a really small bat, and I would take off your top hand, and I would just rest your bat on your shoulder. So keep this good angle in this arm, and just rest that bat on the shoulder, just one-handed with that bat, and just get some wiffle balls and do some soft toss, just from the side or pitching to you. So you just rest the bat on the shoulder, and you just take it off, and you have it go right to the ball, because we got to get rid of that that casting. We got to get rid of that firm lower hand that's pushing your hands down and away and kind of messing up your swing plane. So it's going to make a big difference if we can engage your lower half and fix your bat path on your upper body. It's going to make a big deal. And again, we talked about our stance and our setup at this point of our swing. You can see how low your hands are. You got to make sure those hands get up. Put those hands up and away, so create some good angle for you going down. If our hands start too low, they're going to end up low and just work uphill. So you can see as I get locked out, you can see that's this bottom arm getting locked out to really, at this point of our swing, you want to have still a nice angle in those hands, and then that will make the hands be up in this direction a little bit, and that can be shorter to the ball. The other thing you notice too is this front foot. You can see how that's kind of opening up too soon. You want that thing to be closed a little bit more, so instead of that heel facing this way, you want that heel to be facing more towards this wall, and that's going to help you hit against a closed, firm front side. But right now you can see that front foot is pretty open, so it's going to make you hit with a lot more arms than you want to, and that's going to make a big difference. So getting your lower half more involved, making you shorter to the ball. You can see that his hands get pushed down, and at this point of our swing, you want that barrel to be a little bit higher in regards to that. See at contact too, try to engage that a little bit more.